What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team.
We are live, dude, and I'm looking particularly sinister.
Yes.
Under my theatrical lighting above. I'm in the studio. This is the studio. We're coming along, setting it up, but you can probably, come on, man.
Hell yeah, man.
SMB 7s, Patty P. You know what I'm fucking talking about, dude.
Nice, dude.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. How many seats do you have in there?
We have 3 chairs. It's really dark in here. We blocked the natural light so we can use the different lighting to mess with the effects. But my face is covered. That's not very professional. So yeah, we have 3 chairs. I'll at the end of it, I'll fire the lights up and I'll turn it around. You guys can get a little glimpse, but it's nice. This place is everything I wanted it to be and more.
Nice, man. And then so you've got 3 chairs in there, and then the lighting set up. And then what cameras are you using?
So we have someone who's coming to produce them, and he uses I should know what the hell this thing's called. It's like the nice cameras everyone talks about.
You cut out.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? What the fuck? Hold on a second here. That's insane. It must be the
new studio glitches.
God damn it. I can hear myself. Hey, can you hear? Can you just not hear me? Can anyone else not hear me? Yeah, Wes, I think you can't hear me. I think everyone else can hear me.
Can you guys hear Matt? I cannot hear Matt.
Yeah, I think everyone can hear me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, strange.
What the hell?
Strange.
I didn't do anything. I'm going to hop out and hop back in. I'll be right back.
All right. I'm going to trick out the lights in the meantime. Yo, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Nice.
I don't know what happened. I didn't touch anything.
Welcome to the lighting, dude.
Nice, man. Dude, that's a legit chair too, man. Holy hell.
That's the gamer chairs from the old studio.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty tight, dude. I live for the dark lights. Wes. Yeah, dude, I've been in I guess I'll just jump right in.
Yeah, please.
Dude, I've been, I think I've figured out the perfect workflow, and I've been working, everyone knows I've been working at this for a long time, because it was like, I'm doing the podcast, I'm trying to write a book, or really 2, and then it's like, I have all these different things I'm doing. I wanted to do like a book club on Patreon, and I finally, it's pretty simple, it's not the biggest thing, but I figured out an idea for, rather than just like separately writing a book, and then like neglecting, I want to do all these things for Patreon. For one of the tiers, I'm just going to, as I write the book chapter by chapter, convert it to audio format. And then get like feedback on it and, just kind of use it for like a specific tier of the Patreon. And then for the book club, now that I have like this new roadcaster and all this stuff, I can just sit and listen to an audiobook, take notes, and then just like 10-minute chunks, turn that into 2 minutes, and then like pull up actual audiobook quotes and record them in real time, put them in, so I can make like a very abridged version of an audiobook that I basically summarize and then give people basically cite from the text itself in audio format. So someone could listen to an audiobook that I listen to, get the basic gist, like kind of like Blinkist, but it would be like a Blinkist, but it would be like 2 hours long rather than 15 minutes. So you would get into the book itself, but you don't have to listen to like a 20-hour book.
Got it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Awesome, man. How you feeling about all of it?
I feel great.
A lot going on.
I feel great. That's the thing I do. So I've been constantly simplifying, and that was a major, it seems simple, but that was a major revelation of like, why am I just trying to write this book separately when I already have a bunch of people, like listening, and who would probably would like to listen to it and read it in real time. And that is really the point of the book, is to get certain information to people. So I'm like, yeah, why am I trying to do this all in like this crazy way of it's funny. It's like, I don't think writing's outdated or an outdated form of technology, but it's also like, I could just get this to people like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or like one chapter at a time and go from there. It doesn't, we're like, we don't have to be bound to that specific medium. And then at the end of it, I can take all of it, refine it, and then put out a book if people want a physical copy for whatever reason.
Sure. So yeah. I think multi-platform is always the way to go now.
Yeah. No, I know. It's just so funny though how like simple that is. But in my head, I'm like, no, I have to write a book. It needs to be a book, and it needs to be completely separate from all these other things I'm doing. And my head is like, why is that even the case? So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, somebody asked me yesterday how they asked me how I read, and for some books I actually get it through Blinkist, then Kindle, then Audible, and then physical form if I really like it. Yeah. So literally that's 4 different ways of consuming a book.
That's kind of nice. I do basically, I like Blinkist was pretty good to see if I want to wait, like use the time to get a book. I like that too. And then I do something similar where if I really like it, I get a physical copy so I can go through it line by line and kind of take notes. Because it's easier to take notes. That's a huge level up too. People don't talk about a lot. It's like note taking while you read. And Wes, you were the one who kind of turned me onto this, to be honest. Huge level up. It changes the whole thing of reading in itself, because it forces you to actually engage the text and like think about whether or not you comprehend what's being said, because you kind of like summarize it yourself, or if you have a thought that pops up from reading that, it's like you can kind of take log of thoughts. And dude, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. So funny thing is, I actually use Blinkist for the opposite reason of why most people use Blinkist. I use Blinkist at the end. So so I'll read a book and if I really like it, or I'll listen to a book, and then if I like it, I'll go back to Blinkist and hand copy down notes, add from Blinkist to my notes. Ooh. And oh yeah, dude, it's fucking phenomenal. And then at the end of it, I've got a 10-page, 15-page document on the notes, and then I create a 1-pager from that. That's if I really, really like the book.
Yeah, man, dude, and that should be a separate kind of goal sphere in itself of just cultivating your intellect, of just like whatever you're interested in. It's like there's no excuse, man. There's no excuse. It's like good morning, Lucas. There's no excuse. Anyone can. Like between Audible and YouTube, there's a ton of books on YouTube too. It's like, just make a thing of like, even if you don't like reading, you can listen to it. And like, just again, making that switch, like I'm going to sit down and like really focus and jot down notes and just see for like the challenge of using my brain. Can I sit and digest this material and like actually comprehend and grasp it, and prove that I am by taking the notes and summarizing and everything. And the thing that I think is really good about it is like that pays off like professionally. It pays off if you want to like use it in the dating realm. It's like, because typically no one has anything to talk about. But if you're like reading books all the time and like actually comprehending them and adding your own original thoughts into the mix, it's like next thing you know, you're sitting on a date or whatever, and you're able to just like talk about anything really. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something people, if you're like, I know this, it's like cultivate the intellect. Start getting books. And it sounds funny and pretentious but it's a real thing. It's like, it helps. It helps big time.
Dude, somebody was asking me recently about dating, and he was having trouble particularly converting, like sitting in a seat, let's say, I don't know, at the gym, and then running into a female that he wants to talk to. And he just couldn't do that. And he asked me what my quote secret was. And I only say this respectfully. I've got zero problem doing that. Like quite literally zero problem. And the bridge that I always used, always use, is a book every single time. So I'll figure out a way to interweave our conversation into a recent book that I've read or that I'm reading. And then that puts me now into a different category, because in marketing, they say better not to be better, but better to be different. So it's like all of a sudden, if you can change the conversation from, hey, how you doing, to like, oh my gosh, I'm reading this book, it's awesome. Like, and I know this sounds nerdy, but like it reminds me of this situation. Literally, you can do that every single time. And it works, in my opinion, almost 100% of the time.
I would agree. I think that's actually that's a good idea. And it's also, there was it kind of reminds me, which again, this is an idea I got from a book, which is the one of the ones I'm doing right now for the Patreon, which is All Things Shining. They were talking about the idea of like classical heroes and kind of where, what exactly makes a person like that and puts people in touch with like, a mythical type quest. And it's a very simple idea, but it's like they go through this long and drawn out spiel to basically say like the thing that separates people. And I remember this from seeing, Troy saying he shows you have value to give. is like if you don't know what to do with yourself, it's like just assess your environment for what it needs and try to offer that. Because there's a point of it, like, you see a woman and she's attractive, that's for you. That you're doing that for yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But like when people say it's like, I'm not ready to do that yet, fair enough. It's like, then in the meantime, if you don't know what to do with yourself, assess your environment, identify needs, and then just try to fulfill them as much as you can. And you'll become a valuable, member of wherever you are. Oh,
absolutely. And everybody needs education.
Absolutely.
Everybody
exactly.
Needs that next piece of solid knowledge. Everybody.
Exactly. And that's what you're using your own, again, I'm very obsessed with the idea of like people figuring out what to do with themselves. Cause it's like, nobody teaches you how to do this at all. It's like, and I think we're very, very poorly designed to do it in school, at least, when we went to school.
Totally.
But that's one of those things. If you're at a company, like, rather than being like, this is so stupid how they X, Y, it's like, dude, bring up, rather than complaining and bitching about it, see if you could fix that personally and present that. You'd be amazed at what happens when you do that to people. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I cannot express how valuable reading has been in my life. It may be the most valuable thing. Like if I had to think about it, if I'm really being introspective about it, reading might be the most valuable activity that I've ever done cumulatively up until this point in my life. Yeah,
I would agree. I mean, dude, there's a series of books that I'll hopefully one day go. Well, this is kind of what I will be doing with the kind of the book club thing. There's been a series of books that I would say have profoundly altered the way I view myself in life and the way I kind of get along in life and, how I regulate myself. Like they've completely changed it, or at least I would say catalyzed the process to kind of work on change. It wasn't like a switch flipped, but it was definitely like a huge difference in the way I operate. And it's like, yeah, man, it's like, just like you're saying, I always think like, what if I didn't read those? I would just be doing the same old bullshit, same old ball of stress. And it's like, it's unbelievable. So that's one thing I really, really, really want to do is go through all of those in detail and kind of at least try to recreate how at least it worked for me, for anyone else who wants to listen through the whole thing and read along in X, Y, and Z.
Hell yeah, man.
Because dude, go ahead.
Please. No, please. I was going to change topics, so please.
Well, this is a slight change of topic as well, but sort of, but it's like just the ability I have, because we all know like negative thinking's bad. It's like, not that it's like inherently evil, but it's like we overdo it. And most people would say, yeah, I do think negatively and I wish I wouldn't do that. But like, dude, just learning, from reading, it's like learning how to kind of just watch your mind and not jump into it. Huge. Like I had to go to Buffalo and do stand up. I brought my wife, I brought Maya. You don't know how ticket sales are going to be. The weather's shitty. It's just at any moment I can go into like, oh, this is so fucking hard. And it was like, I was able to just watch myself perceive everything as being negative and be like, man, it's so weird that I do this. And just being like, this is some weird habit and I don't have to buy into it at all. And I can genuinely, my wife gets pissed when I say this. She'll be like, I'm just so angry. I'm like, well, if you want to be mad about this, you can be mad. You're so fucking mad. That's not a fucking choice. I'm like, it is. Fundamentally, it is. It's just, you're making the choice subconsciously. Yeah. And it's such a hard thing to wrap your head around, but there's a thought process. It's so ingrained in you. It doesn't hit that little, you don't have the witness formed where it's like input, thought, oh, fuck this. And there's nothing there to be like, hey, dude, like, are you sure you need to be this pissed off right now? Like, if you don't have that, life is so hard. And it's like, it's hard to explain because it's a thing you have to personally experience within your own head. So you can't put it into words. But it's like just realizing how much of your automated responses are just nonsense, dude. For me personally, nonsense, unhelpful, useless, stupid bullshit that just makes my life harder.
Yep.
And
totally.
it's like people get so into it. They're like, that's my personality. I'm just like that. It's like, okay, you can do that. You can tattoo the attitude t-shirt on your body, dude. Have fun. It's a tough existence, man.
It is, man.
So it's
totally is.
Dude, it was a crash course. My family was there. Like, just like it was, I didn't know how ticket sales were going to be. And it's like, I was just so able to be like, we'll just have fun. I'm just going to have as much fun as I can with this. And like, it's like, I'm pumped. My family's here with me. Brittany gets to actually see what I'm doing now. Like she gets an idea. It was awesome. It was so much fucking fun.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. No, you're spot on, buddy. And I still have so much work to do. I still get attached to outcomes. I still get attached to little micro movements throughout the day. that get me upset. So hearing this on repeat is super helpful.
Dude, I slip off of this daily. And even still, it's kind of cool too when you can like, with the stand-up stuff, it was like the ticket sales ended up being good, but at first they were like, dude, they're not looking that great. And I'm like, fuck, because you booked the flight, and you're just like, in my head, I'm like, whatever. But it's like, you know, now I'm filming the sets, I'm doing other things with stand-up where I'm going to start releasing like, just like little bits that I'm done doing, just put them on YouTube and be done, rather than doing like a whole long block. Like here's like 5 minutes, I'll never do it again. Watch it, enjoy it, it's gone. So in my head, I filmed all the sets, so I'm like, now I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep doing stand-up regardless. If people are there or not there, it'll be a valuable use of time.
Hell yeah. Love it, dude.
But yeah, it went well.
Absolutely love it.
Went well. But that's what I would say to people this week, man. If you can, again, the Mindfulness Bell app on your phone, I can't stress this enough. Download it, set it to go off every hour, let it ding, and then when it dings, you check in with yourself and say, how am I feeling right now? Am I stressed? Why am I stressed? Do I need to be this stressed? Can I at least, in spite of everything, if it's, you know, valid as it is or whatever, can I at least get myself back to center in this moment and reassess from there so I'm not acting out of the altered states that are, you know, stress, anger, anxiety, whatever.
All right. So I have the Mindfulness Bell app. I've never put it on.
Dude,
so
this
is it, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. So
okay,
begin
so
whenever you want to begin it. Okay, so you want to begin it at, say, 9 a.m., 8 a.m., whenever you want to do it. You start it whenever you want to start it. And when it says ring every, say, hour. Every 15 minutes, it's going to drive you nuts.
Yeah.
And even too, it'll ring and you'll be busy and you'll go not right now and kind of ignore it. But it does bring you back. If you actually just, no matter what's going on, discipline yourself to kind of bring yourself back to center, or at least assess, you might be super calm, but to just acknowledge the way you're feeling, and you're training your body over time to constantly be returning to center, and you're training yourself to recognize when you're out of center and just be like, this is unacceptable. Like, dude, like again, I'll get cut off and get so mad. And it's like, you don't deserve this. Like this anger, like you can get mad if you go, well, you don't deserve to be that angry. There's no reason to be that angry. I mean, if he almost hit you and killed you, sure, there's nothing wrong with that rising up in you, but it's like indulging in it's the whole other thing.
Right.
It's like I'll get pissed and freak out and scream and go, all right, I'm not going to beat myself up about this, but it's like, I'm done that now. That's over. That thing's done. And it's pretty good.
So so hit start. Okay. So now it's started. So when it rings, I am supposed to do what? Just
take a deep breath.
Calming myself now.
What I do specifically is I ask myself, what am I doing? How am I feeling? And why am I doing it? And that's it. And it's like, that way I'm always in touch. Like, am I just doing some shit because I think I'm supposed to be doing this? Am I just going along with something? Is this something I genuinely enjoy? And it's like all through the day, it's kind of being like, why am I doing this thing right now? How does it feel? And then after I kind of assess what I'm up to, how I'm feeling, I then just take diaphragmatic breathing. I'll just breathe in through my belly a couple times and just try to just let go of any sort of anxiety or stress. I just let it go.
Okay. Now, dumb question. Will this ring through if I have my phone on silent or no?
If your phone's on silent, it'll just vibrate in your pocket.
Okay. Got it.
And if it does ring, and it rings loud, it's like bung, you can just hit the button and it'll cut that noise out.
Got it. Okay.
So
awesome. All right. I'm going to do it. It's turned on. I want to throw out there, I just saw that Patty P has now got engaged as of, man.
What?
I don't know if we have a chance to have him on, but that'd be great. Patty P, congratulations, dude. That's amazing.
I'm pulling him up right now.
That's the number one decision in life, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that's another one you just go so, personally, me speaking, you just go so unconsciously into. You're like, yep, I guess it's time. It's how this works. And it's like, okay, all right. Patty P, give me 5. Fair enough. Yeah, man, that's tough. It's so hard, man. And again, if you want to talk about mindfulness bells and centering yourself, it's for me, I can only speak from my own experience. It's a whole different ball game when you're able to when you gain a better control on your emotions in relationships. I had zero. I went from 0 control to now I have 12%, and it's just been life-changing to have 12% control and to be like, you're right in the middle of a thing. I'll go, you're actually right about that. I'm wrong and I'm sorry right now. It cuts out so much shit. Right before I'd be like, well, to be fair to me, it's like, no, you're right. It's on my end. Shouldn't have done that. My bad. And it's like, it extinguishes shit so quickly just to be like, I'm genuinely, I'm amazed by that. To be like, you know what? I'm being a jerk. I'm sorry. The argument's over immediately. And I'm not just saying it when you're not, I wouldn't say that to not be, but it's like, if I get flustered, like, dude, this weekend we're doing shows and it's like, I'm like, I want to get there at 7:15. 7:15, she's still getting ready. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Yeah. But then I started being a jerk. I'm like, come on. And in my head, I'm watching myself do this. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You know it's fine. You just wanted to be there early, and rightfully so. That is annoying. But it's like you catch yourself doing that and being like, yo, I'm handling myself like a pussy right now. It's pissing me off that you're late. That's there. But it's like, I don't need to be a pussy about this. I'm sorry for that. And it just works so much better than being like, no, well, that's like, no, I hold myself to a standard that I'll hold myself to regardless of what you're doing or not. And it's, that's something I've been striving to do. And it's not saying like it works, like it's a coercive thing. It just works because it keeps me level headed. And it's like, if you're putting 50% less gasoline on a fire, it's, it's easier to put out.
Yeah. Well, do you have, let's say in that particular situation, because I've encountered that a decent amount. Do you have a contingency plan? So for instance, where it's like, okay, we need to leave by 7:15. This is my job. If we don't leave by then, I am leaving.
Yeah, I could do that. I just, in my heart, I didn't have it in me to be like, catch an Uber, I'm out. So I just told her, I just sat there and complained the whole time. I was just like, dude, but here's the thing though, we ran into this when we were flying out because both of our flights to Buffalo got delayed. Dude, it was a 45-minute flight. Both of them got delayed for 3 hours. Ooh. So it is, that was, again, I was just reading a book about when the universe resists you and, in some sort of way, like when the world's resisting you, you have a plan and, whatever's going on in American Airlines is just like, nope. So we had a thing where we didn't, I watched a guy just going like screaming at the lady, fuck, this is fucking bullshit. And he just spazzed. And then eventually the whatever stuff, because it was, to be fair, it was ridiculous because it's like so the flight got delayed because there's no crew. Fair enough. I'm sure there's stuff that goes along, goes into that. But they were like, the people who are here to tell us how long things will be aren't in today. So nobody knows. Maybe it'll get canceled. And in my head, I'm like, I have to be there today. I was cool. I had to just be like, there's nothing I can do. So I would just ask, every now and again, I'd ask for an update very politely and say, thank you very much. Go back to my seat. And this guy just back and forth thing, fucking screaming on his phone nonstop. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, everyone, the flight's in, we're good to go. We waited for 3 hours, but it's like, it doesn't require any of that stuff. Like, there's nothing that does not help at all. It just fucking makes things worse.
Right.
So there was a pivotal moment to answer your question, Wes, where it was like, I had to tell my wife, we're all in the airport. And I was like, look, if this hits 1 o'clock, I'm renting a car and I'm driving to Buffalo.
Yep.
So like that, so when it comes down to brass tacks, it's like when the thing's really threatened, I definitely have that thing where it's like, look, you wait for the flight. If that's not the case, back to the headquarters, I'm driving. This is what's going on. So yeah, when it really comes down to it, in my head, it was like, I was just being annoyed. It wasn't like nothing was threatened to the show. It was just my preference was irked. And I was just like,
yeah. So. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think contingency plans and unemotional contingency plans are important, in my opinion, when working with humans.
Yes.
I try to give it oftentimes when I'm working with people in business, in the office. It's like, hey, this is what I need done. If it's not received to me back by this point, I will then give it to Jim over here, because the deadline is this and it's not negotiable, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. And it's
hard
always
deadlines.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, if you run into something that's genuinely halting this project that's legitimate, just let me know. But yeah, like we're doing, or do you just tell them like this has to be done right now? There's no reason it can't be.
Yeah, well, and the contingency of like, if you don't do it, then Jim is going to take it, and then obviously there are consequences. I hate saying that like some like evil business person, but like there's consequences to not getting that done, right? Like not going to be enormous consequences, but if it's a string of times where you're unable to meet this, right? Like that's kind of a problem. I think working from reality as much as possible is super important.
Yeah, and it's being honest, being like, I need someone who can do this. That's the job. Like, dude, when I painted for Andrew, he was, we're friends, everything. He was like, bro, when I first started, he's like, I might have to fire you. You're so bad. Like I can't have you here. He's like, nothing against you. It's just like, this might not work. And then it was like, okay, let's go. And I had to like, I was just kind of being hesitant about, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to draw these straight lines across. If I fuck up the ceiling, and it was like, that was the impetus to be like, stop thinking so much and just do it. If you fuck up, you fuck up. But yeah, man. But it was, you can be friendly about it, being like, I need someone to do this. If you can't, you can't. I don't hate you, but.
Oh yeah. No, we've had to have similar conversations in the business, and it's like there's a reason that you're here, and it's not to sound like some miser, but it's like the reason that you're here is because this X, Y, and Z thing has to get done, or these things have to get done. If those do not get done, then eventually those downstream consequences for us, for the business, is that the business goes away. So nobody has jobs. So like, we need you to do this. If you can't do it, it's totally fine. It's probably a better fit somewhere else. Like, and and this is the hard part. It's not personal. And I know that statement is loaded, but it's like literally it has nothing to do with you as a human. It has everything to do with like the humans on the other side of the transaction expect these things to be done. So if we can't meet those expectations, and if you're the one who is at the center of that, right, missing the expectation, then this is not going to work out. And and I think too many people take that personally, but it's not a personal situation at all.
Well, I wonder how. So that makes perfect sense. It's neat and it's concise. I just always wonder, from my my limited experience in like office settings, how does so much of that go by the wayside? Of like, you get all these people, they sit around, no one's really clear who's really doing what. People do 2 hours of. It's like, how does it? It's such a more simple proposition of like, hey, here's like, we've identified exactly what you need. Here's what you got to do every day. Please do it. Obviously, if they did it for like 2 years and all of a sudden like their mom died, that's a different scenario where it's like, hey man, like, take time off or work with you. But if it's just like, you can't do this and we need you to do it.
Right.
But how does that get so lost in the shuffle of like a gigantic corporation with billions of dollars?
Oh yeah, totally. Patty P, what's up, brother?
Patty P.
I'm in like a Matty West sandwich right now.
Congratulations, dude. That's fucking huge.
Yes, hey, thanks, guys. It's the craziest thing, right? I didn't ever kind of expect it to happen. Not it to happen, but I never I don't know.
So
it's just such a weird,
Walk us through it. What was going on?
Tell the guys what happened. Some people want to know.
All right. I've been on tour for like 2 weeks. I'm in Massachusetts right now. We had 5 shows in a row, so I'm going to have a day off.
Damn it.
I'm going to be out in Kansas City.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm breaking up here.
A little bit, but I can hear you now. Yep. Breaking up.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. All right. Well.
So Patty P got engaged, and he said he's been on tour for 5 weeks, and 2 weeks, and his first day off today.
Yep.
So we'll see if he hops back on.
Yeah, someone boosted him off. I'll say this, man. I'm so busy at this point that like I've never been stingy with my time, and I'm feeling myself get stingier and stingier to the point where even like doing this on Monday, I'm like, dude, I would fill this with like very, very work that I really, really like to get done, because I only have like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. I have 3 days that I can do all my other little side projects, which is fine. I've learned to like, it's like putting the podcasting is clearly my most marketable skill. As much as I'd love everyone to be like, no, he's way better of a writer. Right now, podcasting pays the bill, so I have to respect. I haven't respected that for a long time. So but I'll say like I've always been like, yeah, whatever. Now I'm like, I really now have to consider my time, and I would say it's because of doing this and getting myself organized, and it took a while, but the group. I think this group helped. That's something with this group. It's like, dude, it's the thing that it helped me do is I think is an absolute miracle.
Well, same, and that's the thing. With a group like this, it's like the mindfulness bell. I have the same dialogue in my head every single week. It's like, oh man, I could be doing this, I could be doing this, I could be doing this. And it's like, this is the medicine that I have to take to get me to true north every single week. There is no doubt about it. And it's kind of like church, at least my dialogue during church. It's like, oh, I got to go to church again. Come on, Mom. I don't want to do this. Like, I'd rather, but man, it helps me reset my counter every single time. Every single time.
No, absolutely, man. And I'll stray. I will, because I do that. I have to do that all the time. I'm like, because I have been like, we're doing a remodel. We're in like an apartment. I've been traveling. I've been doing this. We're having a kid. She's pregnant. So yeah, I'm as busy I think right now as a person can get. Luckily, I have a pretty somewhat flexible schedule, which is actually a very flexible schedule. But again, that's kind of a curse, because like when you're trying to get stuff done, that can fuck you up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, it's like. Every time I think about being like, maybe I'll just like do it, like maybe I'll do it once a month. It's like, dude, I know myself and this is what I do. Things go well and I'm like, I'm good. And I revert. I just go back to like bullshitting. And it's like, this really, if people are like, it's not really paying. It's like, dude, I'm telling you, it's like, it's one of those things where if you stick with a thing, eventually like the nucleus or whatever, it'll just seep out, and all of a sudden you'll be making like little shifts.
Yep.
It's kind of the whole point of AA is kind of like that. Like, just the whole thing is like the keep showing up thing is like something I question, but I'm like, I think there's something to it.
No, dude, you're spot on. It was actually one of the origins of why we started this. Like using the AA model, it's because it works so well.
Yeah,
it works, dude. I literally, one guy that I know, he made $9 million last year, and I could name 5 different guys right now who attribute their success to AA, and they're all multi-millionaires. And then I asked them what they do with the meetings, and it's like, first thing is like, we just show up every single week. I was like, you guys show up every single week? And then, dude, most of them have like 5 to 10 phone calls every week with like guys who are in need. And these guys are killers in business. These are not guys who are, and they all have families. They don't have an abundant amount of time, but they nest themselves inside of that like keystone meeting for AA.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something
and
too.
And they drive there.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like 15 to 30 minutes drive each way every single week.
Yeah, man. And there's something to it, man. Cause it's like, I've seen people who suffer from addictions, the ones who have like really kicked them and focused all of whatever that energy is on like business or anything else, tend to do very well.
Oh yeah.
Cause it's like, there's a single, if you're like addicted to drugs, your single-minded focus, it's pretty intense and spot on, but it's just you're channeling it towards something that's ultimately kind of destructive to yourself. But like when people learn how to really flip that into something productive, it's very hard to compete with those guys.
Yep. Oh yeah. Very, very difficult. I mean, they then get addicted.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
To the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I've seen that happen a lot of times. It's just that's a tough road, man. It's a thing. If you can avoid it, but
yeah, no, without a doubt. I just talked to our mutual buddy. It was his birthday a couple of days ago. Super strung out, man. Oh yeah. Super strung out. It's like, oh fuck, man. If you just redirected that energy to something positive, bud, like you would just kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and again, that stuff comes from a mismanage of, for at least I would say, people can't manage their emotional states. And it's like, I have a friend as well. He means well. He gets out. He's always in jail. He gets out. He's like a super affable dude, likable. He's like really good at what he does work-wise, but he just gets in his head. He starts popping Klonopins and all this other shit, and next thing he thinks he has it under control. Bam, he's smoking meth, shooting heroin. Then he goes to jail. And it's like, and he just cannot for the life of him. And it's tragic. It genuinely is. He cannot calm himself down.
Right.
Simple as that. He in his head he doesn't have access to anything resembling everything's okay and feel that experience. It's all like everything's fucked up. Everyone thinks I'm a piece of shit, and he believes all of this stuff to be true, and everyone's actually kind of rooting for him. Like despite it all, everyone's like, I hope you do well. Like I'm pumped. I want to see you do well. And it's just, he can't shake that out of his head. And it's a absolute, it's terrible. It's really terrible when people fall, and any dimension of that is just, it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, so anybody out there who's addicted to chemicals, man, our heart goes out to you. If you need us, lean on us. But yeah, it's a bad road, buddy. It's a bad road. Redirect that energy. Cool, man. In the spirit of time, what's going on for you this week?
This week I just got back from Buffalo. Today I'll be doing Patreon recordings for the next like hour or so. Then I got to run back to the house because we got to empty out our closets now. We didn't think we'd have to, but they have to run plumbing, so we had to like take everything out of our closets. So that'll be my afternoon. Well, it's just for me, it's like a silver lining is like I always wanted to go through item by item and throw a bunch of shit out. So this is like the perfect time to do it. So that'll be a fun time. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. So this week it'll be Matt and Shane's in New York. I'll record another Stoner Dads Thursday, and Wednesday and Friday will be days in the studio cranking out stuff for the Patreon. Again, just creating more value for the Patreon and being like, rather than like, well, I want this, I want that. I've got a lot from the people on the Patreon. I really want to just now start like pumping stuff out to them and actually stick with it. And answer Jordan saying, what tier of the page is this stuff on? I'm not sure. I think I might make the book club widely available or put it on the regular. Just, you have to be on a tier to get the book club, and then the spiritual stuff will be on the $10 tier, Church of Dogology. Not out of any economic thing. I think it's more appreciated typically amongst that bracket, because a lot of times people are like, what do I hate this shit? So it's like, I want to keep stuff where people like it. So that's it.
Dude, a quick note on that. I have heard this time and time again, and then I test it periodically. So I used to, for building the finance business, go out and teach, and then say, okay, if you want to come in for a meeting, you can come in for a few meetings and we'll teach you whatever. And then if you want to do business, we can do business. Right. So that used to be about 2 to 3 meetings. And these are like 1.5 to 2 hour long meetings. Right. So that was the free model. And then I had a mentor push on me. He said, hey, I want you to start charging for the plan. And I was like, I don't know that I could do that. Like, I want to provide value up front. And he said, no, trust me, charge for the plan. So now, keep in mind, it used to be free, 2 to 3 meetings, 1.5 to 2 hours a piece, right? So let's just say, let's say 5 hours all in. Now I started charging, and it's $1,500 per plan, and they only get 1 meeting up front. And I could tell you for sure, and now last week made $8,000 doing it, right? Like, literally. I'm not saying that those numbers.
No, that's fantastic, dude. You were just leaving that off the table due to a little construct of like.
Oh, 100%. Now, but the main difference is the people are showing up on time. Like, the meetings are more concise. And the 2 to 3 meetings thereafter are like very, very like down to business. And so when I've always been told, like, oh, when people pay for things, they take it more seriously. I was always like, yeah, but no, that's not fully true. Dude, I can tell you 100% with a small cohort. So we've now done it with, I don't know, a handful of people, makes all the difference in the world. So when you talk about like what tier you're putting it on for Patreon, man, I can tell you from experience and a decent level of financial commitment, it makes it a huge difference.
I'll definitely keep that in mind, man. Thank you. That's actually, that's pretty awesome.
It's wild, dude. I'm still like, can't fucking believe it, but it's pretty wild. It's human psychology, definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Thank you for sharing that. I always love hearing that kind of stuff, man. That, like, you have no idea how much that stuff helps. When you hear that, it's like, yeah, you know what? Let me stop being a weirdo.
Oh yeah. And $1,500. We're not talking. Actually, the last one that I pitched was $2,500. It's just wild. So like, whatever you think the price should be, you're probably bringing your own history to that transaction versus letting the market figure out what that transaction is worth.
Pretty tight.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, dude, so what you got this week?
Awesome, buddy. So I'm actually working all those plans that I sold last week have to be fulfilled this week. So I started fulfilling them a little bit towards the end of last week, and I was a little nervous. Like, oh shit, I hope I actually give that amount of value. And dude, the exact opposite. People were like, oh my gosh, this is so helpful. I've never received this in-depth, financial information about myself. Why did I wait so long to do this? Like, all that kind of stuff. So, but I need to keep on making sure I follow through.
What makes you so much more excited to do it? It's like, then you're like, all right, let's go, rather than being like, fuck, I gotta do this fucking thing forever.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, put skin in the game on both sides.
Yeah,
definitely.
Man.
So I will be working to fulfill all those. And then we did I thought about you guys, the whole team, last week, because we did our last round of classes 2 Saturdays back to back, and 25 families showed up so husband and wife showed up per class. So then I was like, all right, well, if I had to try, if the Rhomas men's team was watching me and trying to see if I've been congruent with my words, what would I do next? So I called the team and I said, hey, we got 50 families in the rooms last time. What would it be like if we got 150 families in there next time? So that is the goal. So we're working on that today to see if we can get 150 families in there. So it's like, how do we 2 exit, 3 exit, 4 exit, 5 exit? So that's the next vision.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So the idea is to blow this thing out of the fucking water, like big time. That's
awesome.
And the team, to be fair, is like a little nervous about it because they're like getting speed wobbles. But as kind of like the leader, if it's okay if I say that to this group, it's like, I need to set the tone, and we need the tone should be set way higher than we're currently thinking. Like, dude, that's how you get to the millions and millions and millions.
I really appreciate that. That's a message I need to hear constantly of like, just, reach out there and don't be, like, all shucks and like, oh, well, fuck, it's like, shoot.
Yeah. I think
up,
ask
shoot
yourself the question, like ask yourself the question, like, what if I 10x'd it? Just have the balls to say, like, what if this was 10 times the size as it was today? Like, what would that look? Would I want that? How would that change my life? How would that change our employees' lives? What would that do? And I've never had anything bad happen from the results of that question.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And it's one thing too, it's so much easier to scale down. If you succeed too much, it's very easy for you to be like, all right, enough, rather than being like not doing, going the opposite direction. So totally. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I'll let you know how it goes, dude. I'll keep you in the loop over the next couple weeks.
Please do.
All systems go on that stuff, man.
Fuck, I'm pumped.
All right, brother.
Hell yeah. Dude, and everybody, I would, again, get in the Discord app, and please, for the love of God, just pick something, just one little thing this week and just complete it. Even if you're square one, just get the rhythm, flex the muscle. I'm telling you, it makes a big difference.
Hell yeah, beast. All right, buddy.
See you, man.
See you soon.
See you guys.
Later, guys.